sobbing, they were weeping. Some people even threw up in excitement. I'm surprised. Yes, it's true. It's absolutely true. The man next to me sobbing and sobbing, and I must confess, I had something in my eye.
Doctor Who always bring a bucket.
So how was it for you?
I've never been so tense in my life. I think, yeah, it was great and it was exciting and all that, but I think my taxi was about 4 minutes late, and from that point on, I was in a state of tension where I couldn't actually reach the floor with my feet. I was so wound up. But it was thrilling. It was just amazing, and someday in the future I may actually relax about it. But I think it's, I can't quite believe we're allowed to talk about it.
We are.
Has anyone not seen it? I'm very worried about spoilers.
You haven't. We're not getting your fingers in
Say anything about it. Sorry.
And Nick, how did you feel knowing that this episode was being beamed out to millions of people across the world?
Yeah, well, it was just an honour to be part of flying the TARDIS on her 50th alongside everybody, and I think there was a tremendous spirit from everybody to do whatever they could to make it the best possible event, and everybody's been so kind running up to it. I think that made it worse for everyone, that there was such a warmth for the 50th to work and be fun to watch and true to what its history is. It sort of made the stress even more for everyone, and I'm just delighted that it seems everybody kind of enjoyed it.
It's an interesting thing, actually, because I suppose, we were saying this yesterday, weren't we? We come on these panels and we all sound so bullish and confident about everything, and we're not really. We're absolutely bricking it.
I've never ever seen you so tense as yesterday. Never.
No, I couldn't speak to people properly.
No.
Which is rare. But you did watch, you didn't have to watch it through a crack in the door, did you, Stephen?
No, but well, they put me in the middle of an audience in an act of unprecedented cruelty. I was next to a member of the public who turned to me and said, very kindly, don't worry, I won't make any noises or anything. I said, oh, I will. I'll elbow you in the face every time you don't laugh.
I did. Let's see a moment from last night's episode that I know in this room made everybody's jaw hit the floor. This is the climactic meeting between Matt's Doctor and a favourite Doctor from the past. Let's run the clip, please.
Who knows? Who knows?
Clara sometimes asks me if I dream. Of course I dream, I tell her. Everybody dreams. But what do you dream about, she'll ask. Same thing everybody dreams about, I tell her. I dream about where I'm going. She always laughs at that. But you're not going anywhere, you're just wandering about. That's not true. Not anymore. I have a new destination. My journey is the same as yours, the same as anyone's. It's taken me so many years, so many lifetimes, but at last I know where I'm going. Where I've always been going. Home. The long way round.
Dressed as a Dalek who is wiping the tears from her eyes. We know how you feel. Is that how it was for you?
So I don't want to give you a hug. Don't worry. Yeah. But then it's funny as like an actor, because I was just saying to Jenna then, one can't help but go, why am I putting such a stupid face at the end? Like this. No, but it's exciting, isn't it? Seeing all the doctors on a cloud looking at Gallifrey. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that, does it? Like, and seeing big TV with that voice and still mad as a box of lunatic frogs. It's just, yeah, it's really exciting TV, I think.
This feels like a new beginning for Doctor Who, this Stephen. He was a man, until yesterday he was a man who walked away from the battlefield.
Yeah.
Now he seems to be a man who might be looking for a lost home.
Yeah, it's a new chapter in his story. He's got the possibility of going home. And as he said, the long way around. Now, I suppose we all know that if he ever got there, he'd be awfully bored. And he'd run away again, and that'll be what they do in the 100th. But yes, it does feel a bit. Weirdly, this has been. I mean, let's pick it up because it deserves it. This is for a show that didn't need any kind of relaunch. This has been a relaunch. 10.2 on the overnights is preposterous. Nothing gets that. I suppose you wait for someone, and someone will at some point somewhere, someone to sneer. But the vast majority of people have simply been rapturous and joyous about Doctor Who, positive about something. Even though we're British, and I'm worse, I think you're Scottish, we're actually all loving it. And that's just been, I think, a special moment. Certainly a special moment in my time with the show. So that's a wonderful thing.
And how was this for you, Jen? We talked about kind of doctors meeting each other. But what about this thing that we couldn't talk about yesterday, about your encounter with Billy Piper and two companions?
Well, that's it, the encounter, which is why we couldn't say too much and they didn't want to give it away. The encounter was off-screen, not on-screen. But obviously, you know, we didn't want to give anything away about Billy and the moment. But I have to say, filming, it was really great. You know, Matt is really good friends with Billy, and it's you know, she's got such a great energy, and she's a wonderful actress, so it was great kind of for us all in between takes, but the companions never got that moment.
And yet Clara got to be sort of in charge of the doctors, didn't she, for a moment?
I like to think so, however. I'm not sure how true that is, but yeah, just running around with the three of them was fun.
And what was it like for you, Nick, assembling this cast of characters?
Well, I think it's funny, the clip you just showed at the very end is a testament.
What's going on?
Sorry, there's a very funny line in the Christmas episode coming up. Sorry, that's quite fitting. I'm sorry, we shouldn't whisper uncomfortably like that. But isn't there, Moff? There's a very funny line about Clara Oswald, which it is actually pertinent to what you were saying. Which again,
we can't say that and not say the line now.
Well, I've got to, but you'll know when you see it.
Yeah.
There's four of us in a scene, and
is it my version of the chin, kind of?
Yeah.
Is it going to stick with me? Anyway, you'll have to wait until Christmas, sorry.
Another enigma to chew over for months.
See, we don't like saying things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very close to me, that. Yeah. Nick, what can you tell us about the doctors together on set?
It was a testament to the commitment of everyone. That clip show there where we asked Matt, and we'd only been filming for 3 or 4 days actually when we had to shoot the end. And they very cleverly found a whole bunch of people to be standing there in. And when I was asking Matt to come onto the set, and there wasn't enough doors, so there are prop men lying on the floor holding the doors open. I'm describing there'll be a big planet up there, and you've got to... And Matt's looking around at these other people standing around him who look almost like the Doctor. And I'm convincing him, don't worry, this will all be all right. But you have to commit, and they absolutely do. And I think you can see through and through with such fantastic work from them. Their commitment is there.
But I think we must also give a round of applause to the man who did such a fabulous job.
Thank you.
It was an absolute honour to be there with everyone, it really was.
And Stephen, it seemed to be one of the delightful things about this story, that he would sort of return Doctor Who in a way to its very beginnings. This was an episode about history and science fiction. It seemed to be, you know, that's exactly what it was founded to do, wasn't it?
Well, I did have sort of input to try and do all kinds of Doctor Who at once. So it's actually as dark as we get. He is discussing double genocide after all, cheerfully with himself in a dungeon. But he will also have complete silliness. He's threatening a rabbit, and I think you now know I wasn't exaggerating when I said that Matt and David are lying together, aren't they? That scene with the screwdriver, that meeting.
Because David is a doctor who knows as much about Doctor Who as Stephen.
Yeah. I'm like sort of the black sheep of the family. There's that companion board. I don't know if anyone saw which Jenna's on, and we were looking at it, and I sort of was like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And David was like, "For God's sake, that's." Oh, it was wonderful. Yeah, he's a lovely man and a wonderful doctor, and it was it's just nice that I sort of get to be part of that history of meeting doctors. I'm really pleased. Tom as well, which was like you can sort of see in that scene my genuine sort of like school coach. I think going, wow, actually it's number 4. So it was really good, and I think and I mean it's just thrilling to see old faces come back from Doctor Who, isn't it? I think that's one of the great pleasures of the show. Yeah.
Let's have a look at that moment when, again, in this hall, there was a whoop of joy when all the Doctors, past, present, and future as well, came together. Let's have a look at that clip.
You might say I've been doing this all my lives. But have I?
Commencing calculations. Crossed about this like one universe. What is coordinates? From an M string? I didn't know I was well off. All 12 of them. No, sir. All 13.
That eyebrow, isn't there, Stephen? That's going to be the most pored-over piece of film in history, that, isn't it?
I love that he's getting so much credit for less than half his face. And less than a second. Well done, Capaldi. So, is he going to be a bad-tempered doctor? Well, who can say? I certainly don't want to have an argument with this guy about a script with him. Dear God.
But you couldn't resist it, could you?
No, we had the point was sort of, as you know, and as I'm sure many people guessed, was to say there's only got to be 3, and then fling as many doctors at the screen by whatever means we could, as the Doctor at every point in his life, in every chapter of his journey, come together to save Gallifrey. That's what you want. That's what you want to happen. That's the fairy tale moment. Well, he's had that genocide hanging over him for all that time. I was thinking about doing this story, thinking, but maybe we should do that day, and then thinking, if we do it, he won't. I couldn't write the scene where he blows up Gallifrey because I think in the end, what I thought was, I bet he didn't really. I bet he didn't. Because the Doctor wouldn't. He'd find another way. And of course, no, I wouldn't say he did. By the way, here's a point of personal dweebery. That's the first time you've ever heard William Hartnell say Gallifrey. Of course, it isn't actually William Hartnell. He's a very, very good voice artist, but you've never actually heard him say the word Gallifrey. So we finally got William Hartnell saying Gallifrey. Yes, it's a really good use of license.
How did you do it? How did you gather together those doctors?
I've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with Stephen and the Daleks before on, very cautiously alongside the Daleks, of course you have to work, but on an episode called Asylum of the Daleks. And there was a stage direction of Stephen's in that script that just said, more Daleks than we've ever seen. Now, I'd just seen Star Trek, J.J. Abrams' fabulous film, Star Trek, so I have visions of this parliament of the hundreds and hundreds of Daleks. And I went up to the producer, Marcus Wilson, and I said, how many can we actually get? And he went, well, 5.